Okay, so last week I talked about fracking and some of the problems that it presented, but I also presented some solutions to fracking. But if you did not watch my video last week, I'm going to briefly recap what fracking is and its problems and some of the questions that I might get asked while talking about this topic. Okay, so first of all, fracking is pumping water and other fluids into a well at extremely high pressures to break up the shale, which is just the ground underneath formations, and to release the hydrocarbons and make them go up the well, and that is how we get natural gas by fracking. Um, some of the problems that this presents is that the fluid used contains very toxic chemicals like lead, mercury, and radium, and these chemicals sometimes contaminate nearby groundwater, and this is because only 30 to 50% of the fluids used in fracking is recovered, and these companies are only getting fined a small amount of money because they left some of the water in the ground. And what people don't know is that these chemicals contaminate the nearby groundwater, and the nearby groundwater is used for our local drinking systems. And some cases of sensory and respiratory cases have been recorded due to fracking and its contamination. And like any other way to get fossil fuels, greenhouse gases are released. It may not be CO2, but methane is released into the atmosphere and it's just as bad. And one of the biggest problems correlated to fracking that people may not know is that fracking can cause earthquakes, and this has homeowners very upset because their houses aren't made to withstand earthquakes because they are located in an area that is very flat and not known for earthquakes. And some people may ask, if hydraulic fracturing is so dangerous and can contaminate our water, why is it not regulated by the Safe Drinking Act? Um, and my response to this is that the Safe Drinking Act regulates the injection of the fluids going into the ground, but it excludes those related to hydraulic fracturing. So as long as diesel isn't used, they don't really care. But even though that these industries acknowledge the lack of regulation, they are still trying to do something. According to the website whatisfracking.com, a site ran by Energy from Shell Group, they quote that state and federal lawmakers are working to establish a system of rules regulating the drilling, and most oil and gas companies have said maintaining the environment and preventing leaks are paramount concerns for them as well. So they are aware of this problem and they are going to fix it in the future. And another question that might be asked is, why should we stop fracking altogether? And I would say that I have already answered this question by presenting all of these problems. Because many of the issues relate from health problems to earthquakes, and even Denton, Texas, the birthplace of fracking, has stopped using it because homeowners were upset about the earthquakes and people were protesting and were very unhappy. Even though natural gas burns cleaner than oil, it still releases methane into the atmosphere and produces greenhouse gases. And the final question that I might get asked is that if, like any other oil or gas company, it produces jobs and it has a positive effect on the economy. If we get rid of fracking, what happens to those thousands of people, whether they were driving the trucks or working on the fields? What are we supposed to do about that and about their jobs? And honestly, this is something that each state must take up, and each governor has to make their own decisions. But if we get rid of fracking, there's a less likely chance of people getting sick, so they don't have to pay medical bills, so they, can keep a little bit of money. And like unemployment, it's not new. It's been around since 2008, and people can apply for unemployment benefits if they lose their jobs from fracking. But the Bureau of Labor Statistics says that unemployment will increase by 10.8% during the next decade. So jobs will be produced and people will have other opportunities other than fracking, so that they may support their families. And these are just some of my responses that I would have to say in response to their questions. Thank you.